Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to talk about the stock market tonight. As you can see, Microsoft coming in hot, right? So selling off quite a bit. Earnings are out. We are going to talk about that and more. We have Jerome Powell. He's going to talk tomorrow. First, the report's going to come out. 30 minutes later, he's going to read it to you like a librarian at story time, but that's when everybody will get excited. So we're going to talk about all that, but first we're going to do it like we normally do. The dollar, my plays on that, right? And then the S&P, the NASDAQ, then the Russell. Then we'll jump into the earnings announcements. So make sure you stick around for all of it. There's a way to track shares now, by the way. Not shares of stock, but shares of the video. If this video gets 400 shares, I give away all the income from this month. From the social media income. There we go. All right, the dollar selling off. That's what we like to see. All right, I want to see that thing melt to the absolute floor, and then I'll bring a shovel and we dig deeper. So I'm short the US dollar, Japanese yen. I am short the US CAD as well. Now, as far as the US dollar, Japanese yen, I am very short this. As far as US CAD, kind of it was a zone play. Right now, I'm hoping that is a bear flag. To be honest, I checked this morning and I was down. Well, I was, less green. I'll put it that way. Looks like looks like I might have checked it at the absolute peak. I was like, that sucks. So that's crazy. We're coming back. I did check it at the peaks because this was above that zone too. I am flirting with stopping out on this. In fact, if we even get any higher, I'm stopping out on the US CAD. Do I share YouTube or is that a TikTok thing? Yeah, it's both. You always share YouTube. Anytime I do giveaways, it's going to be across all platforms from now on. Again, as far as, I gotta say, it's super easy to grow on TikTok, or at least like when I go live there's a lot of people that show up. They get the notifications, which is weird because YouTube just doesn't like to send out the notifications. So I gotta start bribing everybody. But again, I am in that TikTok challenge. If you guys don't know, it's just Don Francho on TikTok. I will win. There is zero chances I will not win this competition. So I need everyone's help to do that. All right, Bitcoin almost got above that zone and then just sold off, huh? So going to, again, these yellow zones, they're 4-hour daily. So looking right there, we never actually got above that zone. Ended up just being a wick. I got to say right now, if I was trading, I would still play the overall bull trend, call that a higher low. Again, I would be buying right here. If it was a trade, I'd buy right here. My stop would be if it breaks 60, where's that? Yeah, if it breaks 65, I'd be out. Kind of has, I don't like it when things start to look like this. Call it like the candy cane in my group, because what that is buyers just losing momentum, and it often just turns that ship around and comes back down. The bull case, now if I'm just bullish, I'm trying to sell you a position, I'll call that a resistance, but then we'll talk about this trend line right here, and that should hopefully break to the upside. So depending on which way you look at it, there's your heads and tails to that coin. Honestly, I just hope it goes up because I own a lot of Bitcoin. So I would just prefer it just never show a red candle ever again. I'd be fine with that. Zero chances, huh? Hope it's not a Robinhood Gold card. Oh, that stinks. That stinks. I do have some questions. I want you guys to answer me in the comments down below. Do you have the Robinhood Gold card? The one I told you guys to get, the one I shared that link for, because there's a prize for people who share that link. People in my group have it. I am still on the wait list like some peasant. I'm just here with you guys. Just begging. Let me know if you guys have that, because depending on how many people say yes, depends on if I show up at Robinhood headquarters and start banging around computers. All right, as far as the S&P goes, so we sold off today, and we have a little bit of a bounce this open. Oh, hang on. I see a comment. I got blown up today, even though Microsoft beat earnings reports. It makes no sense. Dr. James, please stick around. I'm going to break down the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, and then I'm going to talk about Microsoft and why your trade didn't make sense. And I'm not saying to put you down, but what you did didn't make sense. The markets make perfect sense. And you'll find out it's probably more of an understanding thing on your part. And hopefully we only have to learn that lesson once. Do I stream on just TikTok and YouTube? Yes. Is there another one? Oh, geez. Hopefully not. All right. Gosh. For some weird reason, I have been so back and forth today. Rumble, OnlyFans. God, so every time I look at the charts, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am thinking we are only halfway done on the selling, and then I think we just have all the makings of rip your face off rally, and we're going to send this thing back up. So I actually bought SPY calls. Now, I bought SPY calls, and then you'll actually see, where was it at? Oh, I want to say it was right. Yeah, right. So we had sold off. I had bought right here in the zone. I was like, all right, here we go. I'm thinking zone play. If it breaks this crap, I'm out. Oh, we'd just gotten to this zone too. And so anyway, I'm long calls. I go long ES. It was 30 seconds later. We get the absolute meltdown. I had to stop right below here, and it did tag out. So that's it. Honestly, I don't know if you had enough time to even copy my play. That's how fast it was. If you look in the Discord chat, it was long ES, and I'm out. Like, that fast. I kept a hold of my calls. I still the trend overall is down, right? But there's a reason they call it a rip your face off rally. It's because everybody believes it's down. Everybody's just short, and then everybody gets out, and it is just a full send market. So maybe we have just the makings of that. People say there's cash on the side. I don't know if they have cash on the side or if they know somebody that does, but there's not a lot of cash like a lot of people think, and there has been some data on that. But nonetheless, we have the ES really just kind of hanging out, and I do want to draw. This is some very confusing price action, but there is no way you can leave this stream and not have this on your. So if you don't have my charts, figure it out. So I didn't mean to sound that aggressive. You have to be a YouTube member or like a TikTok subscriber or something like that, and you can have my charts. You can have all my drawings, but unless you maybe just like being broke, draw this on your chart now. Let's go with another one, right? Gosh, the bottom range is a lot. I don't want to draw this out as zones, and I'm being very specific with that. So look at this. Absolute send it, melted that thing right back down. This is the hourly chart. This is not the 15-minute or the 5. This is some crap you would see on a time frame that no one wins on, right? Like the 15 minutes, the 5, the 1. And I'm just kidding. I'm just poking fun. Any intraday stuff, I'm typically on the 15-minute time frame. But this is the hourly. We have hours up, and then we just hairpin that thing, hours down, slowly grind this thing up, lull everybody to sleep, and then hours back down. So that range definitely needs to be on everyone's books. If we go to a higher time frame, let's see. Well, what if we go to the daily? Daily still holding just this entire kind of these two zones with some. I don't want to say we're not going to call these a magic yellow box because it's like we're kind of in there. The main bulk of the buying and selling is in between these two zones. It's like we get outside, almost alert everybody like, hey, we're about to go, and then just kidding, sends it right back down. And that's to the bulls and the bears. So if you've been trading futures, I fully get why you're either winning or losing, and then that's kind of how it is every day. But when you get a choppy market like this, where we're just gonna go for it, like they're trying to juke everybody. You're either winning every play or losing every play. There's just no in between. So I wouldn't beat yourself up if you're losing every play. If you're winning every play, easy on the tooting your horn, because that's how you look like an idiot later. Because you think you're invincible, it builds up this confidence. And then it can't wait to put you in your place. But this market, chopping all not as easy as it looks. Power of hindsight, I'm sure someone can call all these moves out. But real time, not as easy. Don draws some important artwork. I do, and let's go back to the hourly real quick. Unbelievable. Look what is going on. They're setting up for a launch post-Fed. they're going to launch something. Someone's getting the catapult, like the Bears or the Bulls. Now we do have Powell tomorrow, so let's see. What I would be very leery of, and would almost be picture perfect, is we send this thing up to here. The report at 1 p.m. my time comes out. That's when the report comes out, and then Powell comes out 30 minutes later to read you your bedtime story, to read it to you if you can't read yourself. It's okay. Most of the market can't read. Everybody waits for the story time later anyway. The report comes out, sends it to this range. What do you think is going to happen 30 minutes later? The heads and tails is we get the continuation or it rejects, but we got some confident sellers right here, along with some very, very confident buyers. There's a lot quicker to sell up here than there is to buy. We have this one snap up session right here. The rest is like we're kind of looking around. Maybe we'll buy it. Get down here again. Bought it. We already tested it again. We can chalk that up to Microsoft maybe. So there's an argument to be made that they're about to send this thing south. They're letting go of contracts a lot easier than they are buying. But remember, this is where the market will make you look like a fool regardless. I've even said multiple times just this past few days, this is the one time I'm not making fun of gurus for getting it right or wrong, because it's just, you're asking for it. Let's see. Nvidia meltdown was epic. You can ask my chat about Nvidia today, which is a funny story. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. Don't let me forget, because I do find it funny. There's a couple people in the chat that just don't understand the plays. They don't understand how well they work out. And this time, honestly, was luck, but it still stands to be said. It was hilarious. As far as the S&P expected move goes, there's magic to both sides. There's fireworks. Everything about this says we're probably going to hit one of these lines this week. I don't think we're going to just stay sideways all week. As of right now, if I had to put all my money on one trade, gun to the head, I would say we would have to go to the downside. That's where I would put my money. Again, I am not right now. I'm short SQQQ. I have SPY calls. And again, that is just because the volatility right here, you really can't be surprised if we do send this thing up. And again, that's why they call it a rip your face off rally. And if you're not on that train, it's a hard one to catch once it starts moving. As far as the NASDAQ goes, this is where things are going to get really, really hard for you to understand. Because we have this range drawn out, and you know what that range means. It means inside candles, inside this one daily open to close right here. And when we close outside, that's typically your clue as to where we're going. Now we've gotten outside 1, 2, 3, 4 times to the upside, and 1, 2 times to the downside. And I do say 2 times very specifically because what's the difference between this candle body and this wick right here? The only difference is, and you guys need to pay attention to this when you're talking about breakouts almost on any play, because a lot of people will grab just the candle bodies, and a lot of people that I know that are profitable, they worry about the candle bodies, and they know the wicks are kind of that outlier of, hey, it did this, prone to, but, here's the main bulk kind of thing. The only thing that happened here was the bell rang, and had the stock market not closed, futures closed for an hour, had it not closed, that would have just been a wick, and we'd still be right here holding this yellow zone. So if we just discount all of that, all we have right now is a very consistent trend down. The NASDAQ is doing nothing but selling off. You got a couple of green days, more selling off. Couple of green, more selling off. Couple of green, more selling off. So we have Microsoft earnings that came out after hours, sent it down, a little bit of a recovery. Nvidia also didn't help it out today. We have Meta tomorrow. And that's so Microsoft and Meta are going to be the two big ones. You're going to need Powell to come out and say, I got a life vest for everyone, and Meta to come up with some lifeboats to really probably save this market. And as I said earlier, this is going to go with hopefully, I got to get his name real quick. I know it was a doctor something. I need to make sure he's still here. Dr. James, he's still here because we're getting to you. We talked about last night before, every day this week that earnings are probably going to be green, and then the reaction, not probably, but if the earnings are green, the reaction it's going to sell right back off. So far, it's kind of just all panning out. NQ could have a 1,600 point move tomorrow. Oh, that's a range 800 up or down. Yeah, as far as like expected moves. Colton says, whenever I want to post how well I'm doing at something, I can feel the future me saying how dumb that was. Man, I certainly hope Dr. James is still here. It sucks that he lost money on earnings because it sounds like he just doesn't. I don't mean that to be mean, but to say you blew your account because they beat earnings and it still sold off tells me you just, and again, I'm not being mean, you just don't know. Not to say you don't know anything, you just don't know how the markets work. Which is really unfortunate because that's how a lot of people just lose money hand over fist. All right, as far as the NASDAQ goes, I will say I sold the as far as the SQQQ positions, if you guys saw, I sold the $9 strike call for this Friday against the shares that I have. And again, it's kind of just been dancing around, up pennies, down pennies. Went ahead and just sold the 9 strike because that would be 30-something pennies that we collected per share. So let that thing chop around, and I kind of did that for a rip your face off rally. Let Theta do its thing. We might close that out. Yeah. So as far as that goes, technically I'm long the SQQQ, but with a sold call against it. All right, as far as the Russell goes, things are about to get interesting for the Russell. Now, if you're bearish, you're going to call that a bear flag. And tell everybody about that one time you were right. Just kidding. But, you know, that's what it looks like, right? Bear flag or reversal. Gosh, I don't. It kind of looks like we're squeezing for a move up. For now, I would be on the bull train with this one. Kind of hard not to. After that impressive move up, and then we're kind of basing out, but putting in some higher lows. And now here's your whole kind of range. If we zoom out on the Russell, you'll see these 2 yellow zones right here. Now, this is IWM for people on TikTok that just don't know. IWM is the ETF that follows this. This is your big horizontal range, these yellow zones. Then we kind of have these blue zones inside here that we do dance around with quite a bit. And then we have just that midpoint, and we're holding above it. So I'd say for now, all signs point to the bulls are still in control. Hang on. Earnings equals risk in capital. Whatever it does, it does. Tell me you're in Don's group without telling me you're in Don's group. Exactly. So they are all a gamble. Don't play earnings unless you're prepared to lose it all. Yeah. Yeah, why wouldn't you? And again, guys, earnings, there's an announcement. It's a binary event, right? So there's an announcement, and the stock's going to go up or down. I didn't say if it beats, it goes up, or if it does this, it goes up. I'm about to draw a line on this. There's an announcement, and it will go up or down. I can almost assure you, might even do a little bit of both. I was waiting to see if Dr. James is still in the comments, but he is not. I do want to shout out to user 4153652005225. I love these unique names, and how you guys pick them is just astonishing. Because when I picked my name, Don Francho, it's because I suck at picking names. That's the short of both my names. So it's like, and I'll add show at the end. The cool thing about that is a lot of other YouTubers followed suit and did the same thing. 2 commercials already. Donnie, sorry guys, as far as the YouTube goes, this channel just got monetized, and YouTube does go pretty heavy in the beginning. I've noticed that. Sucks to suck, a wise man once said. All right, let's talk about Microsoft Let's talk about Nvidia real fast, then we'll go over Microsoft. So it's up to 109. The part that I said was funny was today we were down here, and I told my chat, hey, I sold the 108 puts for this Friday, which means if Nvidia is below 108, I will buy 100 shares for every contract at the 108 level. And I'm sure everyone thought when I sold that was this thing's melting down. Don's about to own a lot more, and then after hours, all it's going to be is a bunch of free money for me. Now, that's why it was funny, because it just exploded up after hours. Earlier today, it looked like I was going to buy a bunch of Nvidia at 108, and I had every intention, and I still do, of buying Nvidia at 108. My reason for doing this was because we're right here at this zone, and it's just Nvidia. I don't mind owning it. It's not a bag holding thing. I'm going to own this. If it drops down into the 90s, I am buying more. If it drops below that, I'm going to wait for a reversal and then add on. And for everyone who just rolled their eyes and shook their head and said drop below 90, trust me, if there's one lesson I could ever teach somebody is how far does that stock have to go? Right now, about $109.42. If you think it can't go lower, it's just because you haven't been here long enough. The stock can always go lower. If it's not at zero, the answer is it can always go lower. Now, is it likely, or what's the probability of it doing it? Not likely. But to just jump into this thinking it can't, you're asking for it. And if you say it out loud, the market will show you it can. So that being said, it was funny that when I sold it, we were at the money, went deep in the money. Now we're out of the money. My driver's license says Don Francho. So anyway, shout out to Cheesesteaks. That did make me laugh. He said his mind was just blown. And that's what makes having a chat fun. How long have I been trading full time? 2013, 15? Started trading in 13, full time 15. I do see the 90 zone very possible soon. If the market continues where it's headed right now, yeah, well, I'll be picking up some Nvidia in the 90s. Technician says, just remember I called out the 79.27 price target and everyone laughed. Technician, there's a huge difference between 90 and 79. 1, I'm right because it's a zone. 2, you're wrong because it's not. Just want to see how many people on TikTok left after that comment. This guy's a... All right. As far as Nvidia goes, now this did get asked in my chat. Am I going to sell any more calls against it tomorrow at the gap up? Probably. Yeah, it could just send it. I'm still in the, what did we sell, the 120? The 120s for this week. I should have just closed those down today. That would have been perfect. It was just... I guess this is a lesson where I got greedy. Because I even told you guys, I closed these things down at the 80% mark. We were well past that. But I didn't. I was like, we're so deep in the money, it's probably 100% play. And it's still going to be a good play. The chances of us just blasting right past that would suck, and it would just really be terrible. Yeah, some people in my group, Matt, my admin right now, says he bought it back at 85% today. That's typically my play. 99 out of 100 times, if you're at 80%, like, are you kidding me? Really, that last 20%, that last few extra bucks is nothing. Closed my Nvidia covered call day for 80+%. Nice. Well, at least you guys listened to what I say and didn't follow me on that one. Chris says he's still here. Wait, Dr. James is? Oh, did Chris call something out? If you guys are on TikTok, I'm going through my normal list. I do this on every stream. I'll break down the dollar, the Russell, the NASDAQ, the S&P, couple of my plays, and then I turn to the chat. So give me 1 second. Let's talk about Microsoft real quick, because Microsoft had earnings. Hey, we're bouncing earnings. Surprise! All right, so the estimated $2.93 a share came in at $2.95. That's good. Okay, estimated revenue $64.38 billion. It's not bad. It's about what I keep. You know, I like to keep that in my account just for like a rainy day. You know, and they reported a $64.727 billion. So they beat by $346.5 million. And you're probably wondering, holy crap, they beat. Why is it down? I know some of you guys are thinking that because you already asked it in the comments. And it could have been guidance. Why is it down overall? More sellers than buyers. Everyone looked at that news, they heard the guidance and thought, I'm going to sell my shares. That's really why it's down. We can argue about everything until you're blue in the face. You can tell me it was guidance. You can tell me the numbers were good. Fundamentally, it's all still the same. You could, and we could argue until the end of time. But what happened was everybody voted with their wallets, and it went down. So the question now is, do you think it's a good deal? Do you want to buy it? So screaming down. At first we were rejecting this zone. That wasn't the best look. Holding it back up. The cool thing about this right here, look at this price action, is when you are when you're in earnings, when an earnings comes out. If you ever plan on, so there's people that own Microsoft in their investment account, 401s, anything like that. They're not worried, right? Their finger's not on the trigger. They are not making a play today, regardless of this earnings. But anybody that will make a play today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next 6 months, they are watching. So this is what I call all hands on deck. All eyes are here. Everybody's watching. Fingers on the trigger, so they're ready to make a move. And everybody who has that, they watched it sell off. Some panic sold. Some bought up that real quick. So that might be a knee-jerk reaction, which signs like this are where I start to see, all right, maybe things are a little bit oversold right now because I haven't said this in a while, but think of a Corvette in the wintertime. Somebody used to say a lot until someone in Texas said that doesn't make sense. Where I live in the Kansas City area, you don't want a Corvette in the wintertime when it snows. A super light car that's rear-wheel drive, not going to get anywhere anytime soon. But you make that Corvette cheap enough, someone's going to buy it and say, I don't care, I think it's going to sit nice in my garage until it is time. And so that's where some of these tickers might be getting to is, hey, that's cheap enough. Kind of like what I just said with Nvidia. I don't care if it goes down a little bit further. Big deal. Percentage-wise, yeah, that's a decent amount going from 108 to 90. But what are we talking? $18? I don't care. We're talking $18 move on Nvidia. I've seen it move that much in an hour. So, yeah, I can't drive the Corvette on the snowy day. But, again, don't care. Put it in my garage. And that's kind of what this looks like right now is someone said, I heard what you said. I hear what you're saying. I'm hearing you. I hear your guidance. I don't care. Give me all the shares you got at 400. And they picked it right back up. Doesn't mean it can't just continue right back down. Doesn't mean only 4 people said that and then the tidal wave comes tomorrow. But I do like this price action. And if Powell comes in moderately bullish, just kind of easing everybody's fears, and then Meta kicks this thing off, then the NASDAQ could have a really good day, which is only going to feed right back into Microsoft. So that dip could have been one of the better ones. And I do worry about, again, a rip-your-face-off rally. Some of these things are cheap enough that the buyers might start coming in. I showed them the last earnings in April. Look how far down and in one day it recovered. Well, this right here? Yeah, April. Yeah, sent it right back down, right back up, and then right back down again. And you guessed it, right back up. Look at that level. We just danced around that zone so much. Like river dancing on top of this zone. Anyway, if you are going to take an earnings play, again, binary event, it's going to go up or it's going to go down. That is your heads and tails. In some awkward situation, that coin is going to land in the crack and land vertical. It's going to go nowhere, like Netflix. So Netflix earnings came out. Look at that. Whole lot down and a whole lot up. Bounced off some zones. Held right in the middle. Everyone lost. Everyone except an option seller lost that next day. You know, the people who bought calls, they're freaking out. They watched it come back up, shoot back up. Now they're popping bottles. Everyone else down here in the put scenario was so excited. Think of the emotional roller coaster they went on. And then ultimately everyone lost. Now they're just looking at each other like, man, I guess we're both in the same boat. But that's what you can expect out of earnings. A lot of times guidance is the story, the excuse as to where things will head. But I've seen a lot of things guide up, beat the numbers, and it still sells off. People still flood into the chat saying, hey, it beat. Why did it go down? Well, because people sold it. That really is the answer. Do I think AMD will go up tomorrow? Why are people in AMD? Let me ask you that. Oh, almost got to my alert. Look at that. Look how far off. What happened to the chips overnight? Oh, did AMD had earnings? AMD had earnings this morning? No, that's okay, after hours. Okay, so AMD is what sent Nvidia up. Okay, so sector play. people love an underdog. Imagine the underdog costs more, though. Why wouldn't you just buy Nvidia? AMD was a cool underdog when Nvidia was a lot, you know, $1,000 a share. But now Nvidia is cheaper and will literally do circles around it. That's like the little brother saying, I cost more, and I'm also a lot more work. But do I think it's going to go up tomorrow? So far, it's pushed up, and not a lot of people contested that decision. There was not even a knee-jerk reaction and an overbought sell-off. There was nothing of that. The earnings reaction came out, and we got to here and found 3 sellers. So there's a lot of time before market opens, and if you've just now heard me say that, I wish you could rewind and hear that 1,000 more times, because there is a lot of time before market opens. I used to go live on another channel, and man, I would be in calls. Something would tank, and people would love to talk crap, and then I would end up being right, and it would just shoot up. And by the next morning, all my calls are up a lot. Their puts are crushed, and I get to make fun of them. But again, it doesn't happen. That doesn't happen all the time. It's happened a lot, and that's why I kind of just don't care. If I'm not selling shares right now, if I'm an options trader, this means nothing. I'm just trying not to get my hopes up. If anything I wanted, I would maybe delta hedge. If I'm in calls, I would short shares. You have to understand deltas at that point. But I would go delta neutral if I was that worried. Or I'm just going to go to sleep. I sleep like a baby too, sometimes. Like at least a solid hour. But I'll see what things at in the morning, because I've seen some wild moves up. Next morning, wild moves down. But so take this for what it is right now. I would say up. If we get the rip your face off rally and that buyer's confidence is there, AMD only stands to go a little bit even further. I would worry about AMZ at that 157, 160 range, though. I would expect some sellers to still be hanging out there, though. I bought the call before the jump. Oh, nice. Someone said it will happen fast. It will happen fast. Amazon Rivian if you can. Okay. Nvidia is going up, but just to go back down, and then it will go up again. Yeah, I hear you on that one. All right, Nvidia. So you know what I really don't like hearing is a sympathy play. Who here in the chat can't stand when someone says it's a sympathy play? Did someone feel bad for it? Huh? Were they crying and holding hands? I don't know. It's just the verbiage. I know a lot of people use it, but I absolutely can't stand that. Did it feel sad? Did it touch someone's feelers? It's a sector play. That's what I call it. Hey, sector play. The chips went up. AMD in the same sector announced good earnings. Nvidia hasn't had earnings yet, so they're going to just kind of borrow some words from there, and they're up. It's a sympathy rotation. Now, Nvidia coming into that zone, that does suck. Because typically when it comes to the zone from the bottom like that, you're kind of just confirming it. Let's see if that was just a quick fake out, a quick get the bears excited, send it right back up. For any continuation up tomorrow, we're going to need Powell to come in and kind of ease some fears. We already know what he's going to say. It's going to be the tone, how he says it, and if he's wearing a purple tie or a blue tie, or some people say it depends on whatever tie he's wearing. I personally don't care if he wears a tie at all or if his socks are red. Does not matter. But we will need probably a green reaction. And if we do set that up, I'd say we get the follow through. Here's what I would be very nervous about. We're green in the open, and we hold on to it. It'll likely chop around like no one's home tomorrow until 1 p.m. my time, Central Time, until that report comes out and then Powell talks. So if maybe you bought the dip today and it's up tomorrow, consider what chips you're leaving on the table when they're about to roll those dice again, because that's what's going to get you in trouble. So you don't have to be all in, all out. You could actually just lock in a little bit of it. When I'm talking about scaling out and then just continue to scale out and not make any money, but maybe lock in some profits. That way, if Powell does just send it and save the market, you're still on the gain train. But you lock in some profits, and he comes out and says, this is why they call them Powell puts, and brings the hammer with him. It's a lot harder to go red when you've already locked some in. It has to drive it down much further. By that time, you've recognized, hey, things are headed south. You lock the rest of your profits in, and it's hard to mess that one up. One day the world is terrible, the next day nothing matters, and it goes up. Makes no sense. It actually all makes sense. Because all this is, guys, institutions are just here to make money. All right? That's their only job. Make money. They pump out news. Think of all the news that happens. All the news. Put your little brains to work. Don't hurt yourself. There's a lot of news out there. Think of why that news is packaged up with a bright and shiny bow and delivered right to your eyes. It is a driving force for liquidity, for something. So you have to question, what are they selling you, not what are they telling you. That's why I hate when people say, oh, bad news is good news is bad, or good news is good. It's always just ever-changing depending on how they feel that day. It's just how whatever narrative they're spinning at the time. And I know that looks like some tinfoil hat stuff, but that's how these institutions are here. It's what they do. It's literally why some news gets created in the first place, to drive liquidity. The only goal for them is to make money. Now, if they can trick another institution, if they can if they can bring in a whole bunch of retail traders, then sure. Retail's low-hanging fruit. You guys don't actually have that much money. People are poor. Even the people that think they have a big account, you're poor. You don't have anything compared to what these institutions have. So they're not really out to get you, but they are out to make money. Look at the 4-hour chart for Nvidia. Yeah, and honestly, that if this wasn't an earnings reaction, I would say that's a breakdown, and we're retesting and looking for some sellers. You almost have to take it with a grain of salt, because this is an earnings play. Maybe oversold, and we're sending it back up. We got outside the expected move. We're reining it back in. I doubt market makers are delta hedging right now. They'll probably play that game tomorrow morning. But the market moves the same way over and over. The narrative drives volatility to get there faster. Yeah. You guys hear that squeak? Anyway, of course. So how you take advantage of that movement will kind of make or break your whole career. You can sit there and try to chase the news and play it, but I guarantee the move is already made by the time you find the news. So thinking you're going to be the first one to the news and you got the fastest fingers in the West, you're not going to buy things fast enough. Lori says, I'm rich in family. Yeah, you're rich in what matters. ARM earnings tomorrow will be important too. If you're scared by LMT or RTX, but tech's not going anywhere, careful with the defensive stuff. Now, I say that for a reason. Because someone's going to hear that in this stream and think, okay, I'll buy Lockheed Martin. My tech stocks are going down. This thing seems to keep going up. And you'll buy what's green and you'll sell what's red. It's because your brain's on backwards. And you'll end up buying this at the absolute peak. Now, when you hear comments like that, hey, buy Lockheed Martin. These are the safe stocks, defensive stuff. What you do is you take a look at this. All right, it's screaming up. There's some buyers there. I want to participate in this. Wait for the pullback. Wait for the good entry and then get in it. So you don't look like, you don't want to go up there and show up and hold up someone else's bag. This isn't a valet service. All right, you're here to make money. So wait for the right time. Israel hit today. There may be something to yeah, defensive stocks are going off right now. But if you don't position yourself into it correctly, that's why I even say that with his comment is it's all about how you position yourself. I can play some of the dumbest stuff out there. I'll position myself accordingly. You tell me to buy some crap penny stock, yeah, I'll buy it 4 shares. It won't even equal $1. And if I'm going to buy a defensive, I'm probably going to play the trend, meaning my stop's probably going to be right below here. Or maybe I grab in a little bit, and if it pulls back, I take probably the majority of the play. Let's say I'm going to buy 10 shares. If I'm going to buy 10 shares of Lockheed Martin, that's all I'm going to do. I would buy 3 right now, and I'd wait to buy the other 7 on a dip, probably around the 515 area. But knowing that is what's going to make or break you. Knowing how you get in, the money will be made on the entry. I'll put it that way. As far as money goes, guys, the most important thing I ever tell anybody is focus on the trade. Money's just the byproduct. If Dr. James was here focusing on Microsoft, knowing it was an earnings trade, he wouldn't have blown his account today. Very true, Don. I have more common sense to buy on down days. I don't ever want to. If I ever fire back at a comment, guys, it's not personal. It's just that I want everyone to see every angle. I don't actually fight. I will debate. The cool thing about debates, guys, is everyone brings up their best case. Everybody leaves knowing kind of everything at that point. So you only stand to gain. So it's never like a I'm right, you're wrong, or I'm in any authority. So if you're here now, try to remember that always in the future. All right. Don't forget to like and follow. I appreciate that. Amazon. Let's do a couple more real quick. Oh, ooh. So Amazon dropped this. This seems a little bit suspicious. So his earnings is tomorrow, right? Thursday. No, I'm on to you. Okay, so Microsoft must have talked about some AI stuff, and the AWS division is what's driving this in Amazon. But that dropped down to a bright yellow zone that I like. I think it's a very important zone, and it got snapped right back up. Man, did we miss the opportunity of that. If you're ever watching me and you guys notice how these are all yellow zones, notice how this one catches your attention a little bit more? It should. The color's all the way up. It's because I really, that's the real one I'm paying attention to, and I 1,000% would have bought Amazon if I saw that. What a missed trade. I gotta say, this action, I know it was earnings. Take it with a grain of salt. Typically when I see this action, that looks like manipulation. So you'll drop a sell order right here. Stops are triggering. People are panicking. Everybody's emotional. Sells off. And then that same person who dropped the big sell order right here, buying it right back up. And that's what snaps it right back up. And now everyone thinks, oh, crap, I got to buy my shares again. So they emotionally sold right here. They're buying back in. It's a little bit higher. Drives it even higher. There's a reason, to move something like Amazon, right? This isn't a crappy penny stock. You need Goldman Sachs money. You need JP Morgan, BlackRock. You need that kind of money. They don't play around for pennies. They're not market selling, triggering everybody to buy right here. Now, they could have just taken it zone to zone. But were they really out there to make $5 a share? Then how are they going to exit again? They need to create more news to create that exit liquidity. So when someone like that, when I see price action like this, that to me tells me, again, outside of earnings, somebody big cares about this, and they're taking it from moves like from the 175 to the $200 mark, like minimum. They're looking to make some money with this, because when it gets up there, they're gonna have to start selling, and this is like algo selling over here. So they bought down here, and you'll start to see that same algo start to sell. Yeah, because if they click market sell, then you see the giant red candle. That says he doesn't like stupidity. I have the patience of a saint, and I understand ignorance versus stupidity, but yes, I legitimately do have a problem with stupid. It's hard for anybody to really trigger that on stocks, though, but we could talk about some other things that might really trigger it. Had good earnings and reversed after hours. And had good... AMD. Yeah, AMD... All right, so sold off throughout the day like everything else. Good earnings came out, sent it. That's my alert to buy AMD right there too. Rivian, I got a shout out to Chris on TikTok. He doesn't spam Rivian, but like he tosses it in the chat here and there, which I don't mind because I like to read the chat. You guys know I don't like to ignore people. But also, we talk about so much, it's so easy to just move on. He's persistent. Oh, I'll look at Home Depot, too. Rivian. Rivian really just hanging out. I don't know if I like this. As far as like a play. So we sent it up emotionally, right back down, right back up again. You have to be bullish just off that. That's the Volkswagen deal. Volkswagen didn't just come in with the gold ticket to the Willy Wonka chocolate factory, though. They came in with a little bit of money. They came with $1 billion with a promise of, hey, if things go good, we got 4 more. We're ready to rock. They don't have the $5 billion total right now. What really sucks is I'm bullish above 18.15 and I'm bearish below 15.30. And it's kind of one of those scenarios where bullish above, bearish below. Kind of expect anything in right here. Bag holders in Rivian, including myself. I don't know. I honestly, this is sideways enough that if I would hang tight. I would let Rivian make its move. Show me your cards before I make any changes on mine. Because if it breaks this low from the other day, you're going to run right into that zone where I expect to find some buyers. So there's not really a move to be made there until it breaks like this. You could probably justify putting your stop at 15.15. And honestly, that's what I would do. Put my stop at 15.15, kick my feet up on the desk, go do something else, play some golf. Any weird stuff you're into, just do that instead, and don't make any moves. If you watch a chart like this, you're going to build up anticipation. You're going to make a move that doesn't need to be made. You're going to tell yourself all sorts of plays. Eventually, you're going to take one, and once it breaks down, you'll be like, oh, yeah, that probably should have happened. Bab says, don't day trade. Yes, what Bab says. B-A-B. Don't day trade. I will see you that, and I will raise you something that probably makes a little bit more sense. He says, just put what? Don's Market Wisdom Show. You sold the 18 calls against your shares for next week? Oh, I'd be all about that. Because if it does break, you'll be in management mode where you'll probably roll it for the next week. You'll probably have to roll to the 19s, maybe the 1850s. I would just roll it one strike out. You'd probably be good. But anyway, what he said, don't day trade. If I can just finish that up, it's don't day trade or swing trade. You just buy when it makes sense and sell when it makes sense. That's it. Sometimes it's a day trade, sometimes it's a swing trade. Why would you ever set out to day trade? You buy something and it shoots up. You're like, well, I'm a day trader, so I got to sell. It's on the gain train. Let that thing go. You manage your winners. There's no such thing as managing a red trade, period. You buy it, it goes down, you lost, take the L, move on. You manage the green trades because you want to get every dollar you can out of them. What about Bitcoin, Don? Riot earnings are tomorrow. Mara are on Thursday. Oh, that's not going to move Bitcoin. Those aren't. But Bitcoin will certainly influence those. I am bullish Bitcoin. Speaking of which, someone did say coin was dipping. I would think right now that might be the overall. I think we might be putting in a higher low on coin. So that buy. That would be the dip buy. Hang on. I buy when it makes dollars, not cents. Different cents. You'll also hear me say, I don't worry about pennies when I'm making dollars. Which is why there's a lot of times I'm not day trading or scalping. I joke, I call it a real time frame because I'm on the 4-hour or daily where all the money's at. Now Mara, I'm intrigued and I might be buying Mara. If there was something I wanted to play earnings, again, gambling money, I'm going to throw those dice, put the chips on the table, whatever gambling reference you want, I would be long Mara for earnings. No, I did not buy Ford. I've almost bought Ford a million times just out of habit because I'm used to just buying Ford continuously. Bitcoin backed by money, not gold. Who knows what Bitcoin's backed by? Bitcoin backed by toilet paper called money. Are the group tickers out? I'm about to hop off, and then we'll do short tech by dollar cost averaging. I would say just have a plan regardless of what it is. I lived through the .com while you were in diapers. Unfortunately, I was not in diapers of the .com bubble. That comment might work on TikTok with a lot of other streamers. Yes. All right. Is HUT ever going to be viable? Probably not. HUT is just too... Oh, after the split, at least got something. I remember this was, what, $1 or $2? I'd have to do probably a deeper dive into this, but HUT, just price action-wise, needs to probably get above that. What was I going to go over? Serve, that's what it is. Man. Good. First of all, let me tell you guys how annoyed I am at Serve. Nailed this play. 100%. So I bought it. It shoots up. What was it? What day was it? Right, 8. Yeah, shoots up. I sell it. It sells off. I buy it again. Shoots up. And I sell some. I buy some more, and I'd say, hey, I'm holding till the 13 range. You know, like I just feel it. It pops up there. I'm actually still in it. Sell it the next day, and then it just sends it even higher. There was some FOMO. There was some FOMO because I'm getting the alerts of, oh, it's at 18. I'm like, great. Absolutely hate this thing. But I will say I did check the options chain because I was going to short it. That's a pure momentum play right here. I actually 100% like this company, but this is not company driven. This is momentum. This is people buying into the hype right now. This is not fundamentals. Everything about this company I do like. They're saying all the words, all the AI stuff, the robotics. I like this company, but price action wise, I don't like that. That's just a momentum trade. When it comes to momentum trading, I'm usually off. I'm notorious for this. I jump in momentum tickers here and there. Trading is very, very boring. So that's kind of how I spice things up. Is occasionally I'll buy. If I can get in ahead of time, I'm not buying it after it peaks. But once it shoots up, I just start to trail it, and then once I sell it, there's no getting back in. Because otherwise, you'll end up having great trade, and then your biggest entry will be the last part. You're about to say Serve. Man, I might even be tempted to buy again, though. At least this is buying the dip. If I was buying Serve right now, this would need to be the higher low, so I would put my stop at $14.25. Period. So that's $1.75 per share. If you only want to risk $2, then you can only afford one share. That's how risk management actually works. If that breaks, yeah, who knows what that thing's coming down. I'm not really going to zone this thing out. I will be interested, though, even though I said I'm not going to zone this out. I'll be interested in buying it down here at this 8 range. Shout out to everybody that followed, though. 9,000 likes on TikTok. YouTube, where are you at with the 26? We got to remind you guys, hit the thumbs up button. Stocks only go up. Oh, yeah, they do. Until they don't. And then they leave the market. And then, well, you go on social media and you delete that post. All right, let me break down QQQ real quick one more time for that. QQQ getting a little... We're going to talk about the futures. Oh, what we don't need is it to if we don't actually get above this yellow zone right here right now, or tomorrow, if we're still here tomorrow before the meeting, this is going to come down to that zone, I think. Goodbye tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is going to be almost garbage. We have the Powell, we have the report, and then Powell reading it to you, reading his little story time to you. Tomorrow morning, the first 30 minutes of everybody playing Hungry Hippos. But then after that, it's probably going to be a ghost town. There's going to be retail traders and YouTubers probably trading, and that'll be it. Everyone else will be waiting for algos to trade the report, scanning keywords. So if you think you're going to trade that report, you got to just, the only way to do that is to be in before. You're not going to read it and then make the play because that play is already toast. But then I will say that 1 o'clock, typically there's the move, and then there's the story time is the rejection. I don't know. How do I say that? Like the volleyball spike. If the report sends it up, typically Powell can come back and send it down. Him and Pelosi are great at playing volleyball. Apple. I'm going to do Apple for you. Fun fact, Apple is no longer in the top 5 in China. I guess I don't like quality. Just kidding. I'm an Apple fan. TikTok, I do have to warn you, I will call you poor if you text me and it comes across green. It's not to be offensive, but I'm going to make that joke a lot. I'm going to abuse that one. It's just something I've done a lot of. Well, why is Apple just so quiet? Why is it just sitting down? This thing's just hanging out. Do people forget Apple was a publicly traded? We went right to right to the expected move and just hung out. 100% to be offensive. it's setting up a launch pad. Apple is just not a launch pad ticker. Apple's one of the slower ones, especially like if you sell options contracts. Apple just doesn't bring that level of volatility with it. People know it's just Apple. It's why Warren Buffett liked it. It's just got one of the best balance sheets out there, and they just kind of keep doing their thing. They're not the Nvidia or Tesla. Now, Apple has a cult following. Man, they'll show up in the comments if you say anything remotely red about Apple. They can't wait to come in and defend it. But like as far as like options premium, it's not even that much compared to all the other ones because just that volatility just isn't there. It's not really. That's what I'm saying. It's not like a launch pad play. You know, like oh this thing's gonna really break out. A breakout for Apple is it goes from 218 to 220. And everybody's excited. They're popping champagne. They just saw a $2 move. It's like watching the eclipse. They've never seen one before. It's coming right over their house. Earnings will be down. He said, about the moon. When is earnings for Apple? Thursday as well. Now, I would not short Apple. I'm just not a fan of giving my money away like that. I got a lot of zones on here we need to delete. I wouldn't short it, but also I would not be buying calls for Apple's earnings. That's one I would probably just sit out. Because if I had to play Apple, it would be long, and I wouldn't want to put my money there right now. I guess if earnings were to send this thing south, 195 would be a buy for me. A smart man once said, "A quiet dog bites hard." I guess maybe all dogs bite. What is it? What's that reminds me of another saying. Initially I want to just be a sarcastic remark, but I like that. What is it? Speak softly, but carry a big stick. What about credit spreads on Apple? They don't pay that much. Options juice just isn't really there. But yeah, I would say I doubt it makes anything. But can we do a $2 spread? 238, 240 spreads. But YouTube, I do have to get to my mentorship. So anyway, you will see me tomorrow for I can't wait to talk about the volatility tomorrow. For now, the overall trend is down, but I think and I hate to say this because the trend is down, I think we're gearing up for a relief rally. We'll see. It might be a rip your face off rally. We could just melt this thing down. I don't think the fireworks are done, so I would just be prepared for everything. But I will see you guys bright and early in the morning. Actually, you will see me tomorrow. Mentorship, we're about to go live right now.